So, after last episode's problems regarding video quality, I've been able to fix that. Only problem is that poor video quality has been replaced with constant missing frames. This isn't anything to do with the game, to my knowledge, as it was running fine for me while recording, but I'll continue to mess around with output settings to fix this problem. Maybe by the time this series ends, we'll have a video that just works properly. Last time on Sonic GT, we traversed through a multitude of menu problems, took all too long to beat the tutorial, sped through Ocean Paradise, and started flying towards Hilltop Zone to shut down Eggman's mining operations. Even before we can continue from where we left off though, some problems began to occur. Namely, it took me multiple attempts to even re-enter the adventure mode, as the menu control problems re-emerged when using the main menu. I don't really know why. I had fixed all these control problems last episode, and the problem resolved itself seemingly at random, but I assume it had something to do with how my recording just shows a black screen over this period of time. I then had to rewatch Hilltop's introductory cutscene again, but it wasn't too long before we could begin Hilltop proper. In comparison with Ocean Paradise, Hilltop does have a slight jump in difficulty, although it is still in no way difficult. There are three main reasons as to why this is: the enemies, the bottomless pits, and the lava. In comparison with Ocean Paradise, where you could find water surrounding everything, meaning you could never really die to the environment, Hilltop instead has large chasms where you can fall to your death, which I rather embarrassingly did after failing my jump. In several platforming sections, you also have to contend with lava underneath, which will damage you if you fail a jump or run into it, as well as energy blasts from Rexons, who have grown just a bit since Sonic 2. This comes into play more later on in Hilltop though. Finally, whereas Ocean Paradise exclusively had egg pawns and a few crab meats, both of whom really didn't put up much of a fight, Hilltop gives many of the egg pawns guns, which they are actually quite proficient at wielding, especially in Hilltop's multiple mandatory enemy fights, and adds motorbugs to the mix, who have had a massive glow up in this game. Remember how they're usually bumbling non-threats who barely react to your presence? Not here. They will charge you down if they notice you, and they are determined enough to chase you for a not insignificant amount of time. They're quick too, lose much speed at all, and they will run you over. It isn't too long until you reach Hilltop's commander robot, a weird octopus mole thing attached to a minecart, and GT's first boss battle quickly ensues. This is a chase across both ground and rail, where you need to get close enough to hit the boss whilst avoiding the dynamite it throws at you. To be honest, the boss is a complete non-threat, with absolutely shocking aim ensuring they will never actually hit you. The bigger problem is actually keeping up. It should be fairly easy, as the boss really doesn't move that fast, but if your homing attack doesn't properly land you on the rail and you waste time trying to get back on, then the boss will not wait for you, and you can easily make massive gains on your position that can add minutes onto your time. The music's pretty good though, and it kinda reminds me of something you'd hear in Undertale, or at least one of those millions of Undertale EDM remixes by KMX and Retrospective. You know the type of artist I'm talking about. You will inevitably defeat the boss, as there is pretty much nothing actually trying to stop you, although it may take a fair while. By the end, the boss had taken so long that despite the respectable number of combo stars I had, I still only came out of Hilltop with a C. Defeating the boss causes Eggman to grace you with his holographic presence, claiming that his mining operation was perfectly legal. Of course, after running through a mountain range of gun-wielding egg pawns and giant mechanical plesiosaurs, no one actually believes him, leading Eggman to claim to be waiting for the fireworks. Tails then calls to alert you to a sudden increase in volcanic activity, warning you that Hilltop is about
to blow!
After that truly biblical amount of fire, Hilltop becomes Helltop, and you are forced to escape on foot. Helltop is very short, but probably the second most difficult part of the entire game. That's because, unlike every other level in the game, Helltop does actually require you to perform some level of platforming, and doesn't allow you to skip it without taking damage. Not only that, but the number of enemies here means you're under a near constant barrage of projectiles, either from egg pawns or Rexons. It does only last just over a minute though, and that's with a couple of attempts at certain jumps, so it shouldn't be too long before Sonic and Mighty throw themselves off a cliff to safely reach Tails in the tornado. He hasn't got enough data from the Commander Robot's alarm signal to locate Eggman yet, but his informant has alerted him to a similar robot in Sunset Boulevard, making that your next location. Sonic isn't pumped about this turn of events, not exactly being thrilled when it's revealed Tails' informant is actually Shadow. He says that the commanding robot here is jamming all communication in the city, begging the question of how he's managed to communicate with Tails, which has opened up a backdoor to his client's private data, so he's more than happy to lend a hand in destroying the new Commander robot. It's located on the other side of the city, and after a few more snide back and forths between him and Sonic, you're able to enter Sunset Boulevard. That's for next episode though, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and ciao.